G'day, my name is Amy Taylor. I'm delighted to be here. And this week, the profile of focus is the cognitive functions contained within the Myers-Briggs process. So I will be the first to acknowledge that Myers-Briggs was not a profile that captured my attention until very recently. I've seen it for many years, but the four letters just sort of felt disassociated and confusing, and I didn't really understand it. It told me a lot about myself, and I didn't necessarily quite resonate with it, and it just didn't quite align. And part of that is that the online Myers-Briggs profiles, I think I read a stat that they're like 40% inaccurate, which means that probably about half the time, or just under half the time, you're not getting an accurate result from the online profile. The other piece that I'll add to this is that even if you do get an accurate profile, generally we don't know ourselves particularly well. Our patterns, our cognitions, the way we show up to the world are hidden, which is really what I'm all about, is helping move what's hidden, what's invisible, into the visible. And so understanding our patterns and our preferences, understanding the way we cognitively process information, or the way we engage with and experience information depending on our preferences, is key to understanding ourselves. And one way we can do that is through the cognitive processes which are contained within. One way we can do that is in the cognitive processes which are contained within our Myers-Briggs profile. So generally, if you do a Myers-Briggs profile online, you'll be given the results with four letters, ENTJ, ISFP, whatever it is that your letters are. And then from that, we can deduct your cognitive processes and navigate what it is that drives you, what's sitting in the secondary position, and is that supporter. So imagining you are sitting in a car, you have the driver in the first seat, and then you have the navigator or the guide in the second seat, that is the supporter or the auxiliary to your driver. And then in the back seat, we have a couple of kids. And I'm not going to go into too much detail with this here, but it's definitely something I'm going into a lot of detail with my group mentoring students and also my one-on-one clients right now. The key here is to know what your driver is and what the support function is. And the way to do that is to do your Myers-Briggs profile and then just Google the letters that you get. So for example, INTP, I'm just making up letters right now, but you would Google, and you would Google INTP cognitive stack, and it will tell you which of these is your top. You'll also find a whole pile of free information out there on the internet. This is not something I'm trained in. This is something I'm currently exploring the free information around myself. And yet there is so many insights that I'm able to offer to clients in how they're showing up, how they're engaging with their partner, why they feel the way they do about their business, why they feel the way they do about their home life, how these patterns influence and are invisibly, and this is why patterns and profiles are so important in my mind. So while we can look at the invisible at home, we can look at the invisible in our businesses, at the end of the day, the invisible patterns, the hidden unconscious drivers that are going on for us, that are coming from within, are shaping every aspect of our life, our relationships, our ability to go out and take action, how we show up to work, how we show up in our businesses, how we approach exercise, how we develop friendships. Every area of our lives is going to be touched by who we are, which is not entirely what this looks at, but also what our preferences are. So who we are is separate from our profiles. And I just want to make that point clear. I'm not saying this will tell you who you are. This will tell you or help you identify your preferences in how you show up to the world. And all 8 are available to us. We are all unique. This is not about boxing us in. This is about discovering and connecting with what it is inside us that is driving us. It helps us to become more effective and know what it is that we want to judge against in the world, as well as how we want to experience and how we perceive the world, which is one of the patterns that you're going to notice there, that perceiving versus judgment. So there's 4 judgment functions and 4 perceiving functions. And we will each have one from each. I was going to say each color, but my colors aren't particularly well coordinated here. At some point I may fix that, but we'll have one from each set. So we've got the set of intuition and we've got the set of sensation. Intuition is represented by the N, and I get that that's a little bit of a mind boggle and struggle. But intuition, so introvert and extrovert are the little letters. This is whether we do this internally or whether we do it in response to or project it into the external world. So introversion and extroversion is one pattern, but we all, it sits on a spectrum. We're never completely introverted or completely extroverted. There are ways in which we process that are more introverted, and there are ways that we process that are more extroverted. And how that plays out for us will shape how we show up to the world. So the I and the E are there. Now, that's why that N gets an N instead of an I. So intuition, so introversion, extroversion is the first pattern. Intuition, sensation, N versus S, my apologies, N versus S is the second pattern. And then we've got feeling versus thinking. And again, we have all 4 of these are available to us in our primary, and all 8 of these are available to us. It's just on a spectrum of preference and which one we like's the wrong word, which one we are able to tap into more easily and effortlessly, which one is better for our soul and lights us up and inspires our brain chemicals to operate on a different level, and which ones we find a little bit more challenging, which doesn't mean to say that we can't learn them and embrace them. What I will say is if we embrace one of our lower functions without incorporating it into our higher functions, we will feel depressed, we will feel miserable, we will feel out of alignment. And for many years, I lived that way. So my highest function is exploration, external intuition. When we had children, I fell into a pattern of, or made a choice. I fell into, I don't want to take responsibility for it yet, but the reality is I made a choice to tap into external thinking, which is the effectiveness and structuring piece. And for many years, I felt like life was being sucked out of me because I was operating in a pattern, one that I've learned very well. My ability to set up structures and to create effective timelines, manage time, manage money, color code spreadsheets, build Asana boards. It's a skill I've developed very effectively, ironically. And when I incorporate it with my primary function of exploration, backed by my secondary function of reasoning, it doesn't suck the life out of me. When I operate with it just on its own and I deny myself the ability to explore and I challenge the accuracy and feel like things are not accurate and I'm doing them anyway, I start to feel suppressed. Now, easily you can see from that little example, understanding this has given me so much insight into myself. It took what was invisible. Why do I feel like crap managing my household? Why do I feel so drained when I'm just creating checklists? Now, I love creating checklists as long as it comes from the exploration and the ideating. I love that word. My husband hates it, which is just an indication of where our patterns lies. When I come from that space, I am able to really enjoy having learnt to access one of the lowest stacked functions for myself. When I wasn't, I got depressed. And so if you are feeling off alignment, out of kilter, this is the profile that you want to do. You want to check in. What are your highest functions, and how are you letting them come to life in your world? How are you bringing them out at home? How are you bringing them out in business? What's being denied from you, or what have you shut down out of social obligation or role? So I shut down my exploration when I had kids because mothers stay at home and they look after things and they take care of business. That was my belief. That's not true. That was my belief. And it started to box me in and shape me. And we can break free of that and we can change that. But it starts by making that invisible pattern visible. I trust that that makes sense to you. Maybe it doesn't make sense to you. Maybe there's questions that you've got. I'm hoping it makes sense to you. That's my accuracy and my reasoning coming through. And yet if it doesn't, I would love your questions. I would love to explore this with you. And if you want to explore it further, then there is a great opportunity for us to do that. Like I said, this is getting incorporated into how I help people set up structures in their business. I can't imagine, actually I can still do what I've been doing for so long. This is just going to be such a great tool. The session a client and I had last night, instantly my coaching for her has changed because I've seen her cognitive stack. Instantly how I am going to support her. And I now have a depth of understanding. More importantly, she has a depth of understanding of what it is that she needs from me as a coach and what it is that she is looking for, because that exploration, that creativity, the let's give it a go is definitely one of the things that she was attracted to in me. And yet we can now shift that into a way that she can have an experience of it with SE as her primary function, and just completely transform the way that we're going to approach her creating her own business and her growing and evolving, and how the dynamics at home are playing out because she's uncovered this pattern from within. So we can go from the top and work out what's invisible in the home, what's invisible in the business. At the end of the day, though, most of what's invisible that's going to be impacting us is going to be coming from within. And the fastest way to do that is profiles, which is why I am committed to coming in and sharing once a week a new profile. Like I said, the profile this week is the cognitive functions found within the Myers-Briggs. I will pop a link for a free Myers-Briggs profile, and then you can either send me a message and just say, I've done my Myers-Briggs profile, this is my letters, can you send me my cognitive stack? Or you can just Google cognitive stack for your type and you will find loads of information out there. If you want help on how to apply that to yourself, because as much as gathering information is wonderful, at some point we need to start to internalize it. We need to start to practicalize it and put it into our lives. If you want help with that, reach out. Like I said, this is where I'm playing with my VIP clients and also in the group mentoring. Both of those options are available. Let's chat about how it is we can work together more. And I'd love to know. So pop in the comments, whether you want to work with me or not, pop in the comments. What did you discover? What's your Myers-Briggs profile, or your what the profile said, because sometimes mine was inaccurate and I needed to tweak it, and when it tweaked, things fell into place. Do you hate the results you got? Are they not landing for you? Are you feeling very out of alignment with them and they don't resonate at all? Do you need help to either accept what it is, because sometimes that's what we need, is an acceptance of, actually this is kind of who you are and what drives you. Let me help you understand the results that you've got, because sometimes we don't understand the results and we judge them based on our meanings of the words. Or potentially, let me help you adjust your results so that they are more who you are, and exploring that. Lots of opportunities, but pop down below. How did you find it? Was the Myers-Briggs helpful? Did the cognitive stack mean anything to you? Do you need more information? Do you need to have a conversation with someone and unpack? Are you looking for more resources around this? And let's talk about how we can work together. Both of those options are available. You guys are amazing. I've talked for way too long. This was fun, and I look forward to reading the comments and playing and to sharing another profile next week. This is my happy place. Delightful, exploring patterns, exploring the accuracy of how we see ourselves. I couldn't be happier. Have a wonderful day. Bye.